Here we go.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
That pillow is total for comfort.
I'm Iyanla.
Say that again.
Iyanla.
Iyanla. Yes. Summer, I'm going to ask you and Sinead to switch places.
I think Summer is really nice. I'm really excited to get to know her. I think it's going to be a good experience for all of us.
So, Iyanla and I want to find out about you, Summer.
Let me take a second to just pause this. I don't know how I'll edit it. But knowing that Dr. Stan had just been talking to the women about how men in their lives cheated on their moms or whatever, like at the time when I did see this episode, I haven't seen many of these episodes that I'm in, but I did see this one. And I remember thinking, he totally did that to like trigger them in a bad way. Like, let's create some drama. But looking back now, it could have been that, right? Of course. But I'm also wondering if it was to prepare them for me. So anyway, we'll see. Let's keep going.
And why you are at the Starting Over house. And of course, I'm sure your housemates want to know your story and find out a little bit about you.
Okay, well, I'm 26. I was a talent agent at a modeling agency. And 4 months ago, this Thursday, I had gastric bypass surgery. Wow. Nothing worked. I tried Atkins for a while, and then I tried Weight Watchers. The final thing for me was I didn't want to have to fight it my entire life. I mean, it's exhausting. It's depressing. It's been, I think, 75 pounds in less than 4 months. We're hoping it keeps coming. And so I'm kind of here to start over and learn how to be thin. I don't really know. I've never been there.
And so what was the moment that you said, this is done, I'm stopped? What made you get to that moment?
My grandmother passed away last October, and she was probably 450, and she was about 4'11". Watching her in that nursing home was just, she had gone to the bathroom and nobody had come for hours to clean her up. And I mean, that's humiliating, you know? And the reason that they didn't come was mostly because it would take 2 or 3 of them at least to do anything. I just didn't, and I didn't know that I would ever necessarily get there, but I didn't want to risk it. Anything that's genetic hopefully can be fought off.
Well, let's see some photos and find out a little bit more about you. Plasma, please.
So scared.
It'll be fine.
Here.
All right, this was last summer, and we were fixed to go out to a bar, so that is Jack Daniels and Diet Coke, and that...
That's a big old fucking glass.
I had a good time that night. These are pictures of my actors that have become my friends, my models that have become my friends.
So how did it feel to be 273 pounds?
Okay, I want to stop there too, because that's another one of those where I'm like, did I actually say it that way? And I think I was trying to express that I had all of these people around me who didn't understand, like, weight problems, you know? Like, I don't know. It comes across real, I don't like it. But my intention was just to talk about how there were few people that understood what I was going through. And I'm sure also that I was comparing myself to them all of the time. So I had a even more warped sense of what normal was because of the people I was around all the time. I don't know if that makes it okay, but that's what it was. Let's go back.
And work in the modeling agency.
Well, it pretty much sucked. Yeah, they'd said things before when I would try to lose weight about, like, if I lost the weight, I would be, like, the prettiest one of the group and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I think I made up for being afraid of being judged by my looks by, I know this business.
Next photo.
Okay, this is the biggest I ever got that I let anybody take a picture of me. So, and I look at that now. I didn't even find it till about a month ago. I developed some film and was like, oh, I forgot about that. It looks swollen. I don't know. I can't believe, it's really hard to believe how easily you don't see yourself.
As I'm listening to Summer tell her story, I am curious as to why she chose to have gastric bypass surgery.
Can I ask a question? Are you jealous of your girlfriends?
Well, of course.
Is that why you had the surgery?
No, God, no. I mean, I had to take out a loan. The insurance wouldn't even cover it, so that, believe me, I would not have incurred that kind of...
I was just wondering if you're...
So another thing on that, I worked for a modeling agency. So gastric bypass, whether it was medically necessary or not, was excluded from the plan because it made it cheaper for everyone else. It was literally the only person in the agency that had a weight problem of any kind. So they ended up loaning me the money. But I also did choose to do this before I had any permanent problems.
You're in the modeling business and you have all these beautiful skinny friends. Is it that you wanted to sort of be like them and
On a certain level, I'm jealous, but I really like who I am, and I know I had to be this way to develop that personality or whatever.
So you said your insurance went.
So I think that's another thing I told myself, that I wouldn't have been as outgoing if I hadn't felt like I was making up for a weight problem. I wouldn't have been as friendly to people if I hadn't felt that I needed to do that to make friends. So, and I do think that's true. I don't know if it's right. Like, I don't, none of us can just choose how we develop our personalities, but I'm just saying, I think it is true that I was compensating, I guess, for what I thought I lacked by being so overweight with a personality, right? And I liked that. I didn't want that to go away. So it's true that but I also think that was a little bit of an excuse.
Cover it so they didn't see it as a health issue?
Well, I did it before I had any real health issues. Like, my blood pressure was a little high, but nothing, I wasn't on medicine for anything, and I hadn't developed diabetes or any of that. Okay.
Who's this?
Okay, Tiffany's in the middle. Now, I am definitely gonna cry. Tiffany, 4 years ago was killed in a car accident with another one of our friends. And, I hadn't seen her in a long time.
Was it
You know, she
drunk
was
driving?
wasted. She was wasted, but she wasn't driving.
Who's this handsome guy?
We met when I was a senior.
And what's his name?
Nathan.
Nathan.
He decided to join the Marines, like, out of the blue. He shows up in my work, and he's like, I'm leaving for the Marines in 11 days, and remember my ex-girlfriend? Well, I'm gonna marry her. Anyway, so he goes off to the Marines, and she starts planning the wedding, you know.
Were you secretly in love with him?
It was like my best friend's wedding.
Well, there's more to the story. Okay, so he gets married.
There really is more to the story. It was years of friendship, but it's hard to fit that in, and that is still the most shameful thing in my past. I'm gonna let it play.
Goes overseas.
So were you secretly in love with him?
Not that I was aware of.
Okay, so it was real secret.
He came home from deployment. She couldn't come because it was shortly after Christmas. So he came home by himself. He's calling every once in a while, and I don't know, after a lot of alcohol, he started playing Truth or Dare. And obviously, I mean, I don't want to say that alcohol is an excuse. It definitely opened some doors that we didn't really know were there, I guess. And one of the things they dared us to do was go into the other room for like 5 minutes or whatever and make out. The fact that we did it amazes me now. It's humiliating.
Alcohol isn't an excuse, but alcohol does dull your ability to make good decisions. And at the time this happened, we were like 21, though. I don't say that to excuse it. It's just, of course, there was too much drinking. But when you make really bad decisions, when you do that, again, not an excuse, but it's definitely a reason not to drink, or not to drink like we were drinking.
Humiliating. It's like the one black spot, the one regret that I have.
Did you have sex with him? You had sex with him.
See, that's it. That's a new simple sentence. I met
You
with
had an
him.
affair with a married man.
With a married man.
Hate that. It was one time. And I feel like the show made it sound like this was an ongoing thing and this was a mistake. And I don't know if that ever gets cleared up. I don't think it does on the show.
Did you have sex with him? You had sex with him.
See, that's it. That's a new
You had an affair with a married man.
With a married man.
Had an affair with a married man that she's secretly in love with for how many years, that she named as her best friend.
But see, it wasn't a secret. It wasn't a secret. She knew she loved him, but figured because she was overweight, he couldn't love her.
I personally believe that you put it in the back of your mind and just kept it there because you
And it
just
leaked
didn't want
out.
to accept it.
But you know what I find very interesting?
She could be right. Like, I remember when he came home that trip that this happened, and I saw him for the first time, I was like overwhelmed with emotion. Like that I really didn't know I'd had. I remembered when we were first met in senior year, like I thought he was cute, but I mean, he had like long hair and wasn't, I mean, I don't know, it was just a different kind of guy, and I didn't think I was his type. So they are right there, but that was like at 18. And then we formed this bond that was different, that was friendship. And so Tawanda's probably right that I did bury it, but I didn't knowingly bury it. I really thought that I just worked through it, and then it recurred later. I don't know if that helps.
That we have the opportunity to have the other woman in the room with Miss Tawanda.
If I was in Sommer's shoes, I
Like
would
that
feel
one.
ashamed. I would feel embarrassed. I would feel humiliated. It brings up a lot of stuff for, I think, a lot of us in this house.
He went back home and he
I did all of those things, Kim. And yet I still shared them because I wanted to be better.
couldn't handle it, so he told his wife, and he told her it was me. I started feeling really bad, so I called him because I just knew something was wrong. And she answered the phone, and he had left because she had thrown him out. And she called me a whore and told me I'd been planning this from day one.
Every boyfriend I've had has cheated on me with some other woman, and sometimes my best friends. It leads me to believe that I don't want anything to do with Sommer.
Eventually, it came down to he wasn't going to feel, he had made a commitment to her. Okay, so you fast forward, she had been separated, she had left him, and they officially filed for divorce like 3 weeks earlier.
Did you get together?
Yes, and we were inseparable for almost a year. I get a call.
So the reality here that got somehow lost in editing was, so when I say we got together, we never got together physically. We never, like that. We did become inseparable. He did end up, there was an extra room I was renting from one of the models who was always out of town, and he was like, hey, you can live here if he'll do my yard for free. So great. And so we really were inseparable, but he was dating other people, like, so it definitely didn't come across that way here, and I think I now understand why they were so upset back then.
From his brother. He had been driving home and he was drunk. God, in the car.
So the full story there is I was supposed to be with him. He was going to a party at a friend's about an hour out of town. But by then I'd figured out that our relationship was toxic. And so I was trying to get my distance, and I had moved home to save money for my gastric bypass, and I used that as an excuse to not go. And I think I believe that he wouldn't have been driving. He always got mad if we drove drunk. He always, even though I was so heavy and I hated the seatbelt on right, he was always like, you gotta wear it. Like, all the things that he chose to do that ended his life, I don't think he would have done if I had gone. And I'm sure it's part of a plan. And I'm sure if that was the plan, I guess, it would have happened at some point. But it didn't. It happened then. And clearly I still have a lot of guilt.
Flipped, and he wasn't wearing his seatbelt right, and that was that.
I feel very bad for her. I've never lost a friend or a family member, so I don't really know what it's like to lose someone, but I feel for her.
I was not allowed to go to his funeral.
You were not allowed to go to his funeral.
It's a big mess.
A lot of healing to be done. You're here to start over, and one thing about the Starting Over House is that many times you'll find out more about yourself than you ever anticipated. And that's the good thing about the Starting Over House. Your goal is to lose weight and gain self.
Just seeing that makes me want to cry. I've carried that as an excuse, I think.
not put myself out there. And I want to put myself out there so I can figure out what I really like. I mean, 26 may not be old, but it's old enough that you don't want to waste any more time.
I'm actually trying not to make any judgments at all because that's something that I normally do.
Well, I am going to be your primary coach, so you and I will be spending lots of time together. And Iyanla is going to be your support coach, and so you'll be experiencing her as well. And you and I are going to start today.
So, obviously, again, you just meet someone, you walk in the door and you tell them all this stuff about you. Like, these other girls had time. You know, Sine went first because her issue is really 1,000% outside of her control. Jennifer, same thing, you know, and I think that they kind of placed the order. They had T go, they would have had her go last, but it was triggering Deborah so much. I feel like they swapped them, but they wanted T to go at the end because they wanted, again, I can't speak for them, but especially having the perspective of in the house and 18 years since, I believe they wanted T to go last because they wanted to keep her anonymity. You know what I mean? They wanted her to be able to be Tawanda and build relationships just solely based on, you know, her personality, not her last name or her sister or any of it. I really don't think that they had her go that late just for the sort of to drag it out or ratings or anything like that. And I think the choice of rolling that all out was pretty smart. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'd been there 2 hours. I maybe not an hour. So that was tough.
To me, I'm sorry, but anybody that has an affair with Mary, I have no respect for. None. Because all of us have been a prodigy of the other woman. She's 100% responsible. If you choose to lay down with another man's...
She was said
Go Jen!
By that, she was meaning that he was half responsible,
Right.
and so is she.
And what I said was, in my opinion, he's 100% and she's 100%.
Remember, she sat there and said that she should have gotten up and she should have left. Why didn't you? Knowing he was married.
It's gonna be something.
And it was. I think that's enough for today. I don't know how many of these I'll do, but I thought it would be good for me and good practice since I am trying to teach myself to do this stuff, but also good for me inside. And I don't know. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of questions from you over the years, so I thought you might enjoy it. Thanks for joining.